YouTube. This is Perry with Premier Guitar here in sweltering Nashville, Tennessee. It's very, very hot today. Here with my homie Nick Hamm from the band Citizen. If you guys haven't heard of Citizen yet, you're welcome. What's going on, Nick?
What's up, man? How are you?
Dude, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys today, and this is awesome. Circa Survive AFI tour?
Dude,
awesome.
It's been incredible.
Dude, this is great. So we'll get right to it because we don't have a ton of time.
Sure.
However, in previous gear videos, I've seen you playing Mexican Tele.
Yes.
And it looks like you got some, is this it?
This is it.
Okay, so
there
this is more of the number one now then, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is just a Mexican Jazzmaster.
Cool.
Classic player. As you can see, I haven't really upgraded at all. It's just kind of a sidestep.
Sure.
But I love it.
Is this stock?
Yes, it is.
So you haven't done anything to
stock.
it? Yeah.
Right.
Man, I'm a fan, like, you know, people want to talk about, I have lots of Mexican Fender products that are great. They're, you know, and they're just great, you know, there's no problem.
Yeah.
Did you have it set up or anything, or is it like?
Yeah, I have it set up when we go into the studio, which actually, when we go into the studio with Will Yip, usually I kind of base my gear off of his fondness of what I'm playing, you know.
I see.
And this guitar, he loved it, and he suggested getting one. I like that they're cheap, and
easy to find parts for?
Yeah,
totally.
He loves it, and he thought I should get one, so I just got one on a whim, and I love it. And I play it for almost every song. I play it on all across the new record.
So are you just switching in case you break a string?
It's actually for a different tuning.
Tuning, okay,
Yeah,
I see. I've got one very, very similar. Are you messing with the jazz circuit at all, this guy up here?
I'm not.
You're not? Okay, I leave mine on. Yeah, I totally get that, yeah.
I'm
and
not.
actually the new modern players, I think, have the professional standard series, I think is what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
They just took it out altogether, which I kind of dig. I think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is the number one.
This is the number one.
And then we got this Tele, here, let me grab this for you.
Yes, that's number two.
This is
That's like number three.
Just a stock.
Get that thing.
Is this,
I hate it.
You don't love it?
I play it in a lower tuning, which I hate playing in the lower tuning.
What's the tuning?
Drop C.
What song are you playing that on?
That is for all the old songs. All the songs off our record Youth.
Okay, gotcha, cool. Speaking of Youth, man, I really enjoyed that record, thought it was great.
Thank you very much.
Incredible, I mean, what a record. And then Everybody's Going to Heaven came out, and I was like, whoa, this is like, so one of the questions I've been thinking.
Drastic.
It's a huge difference. So what was what caused the departure?
Not
necessarily a departure, but a honing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just in general, kind of constantly growing. We're a pretty young band, so you know, every time that we go to write a record, we're probably listening to new bands,
different stuff.
You know, and I think that that's probably the biggest adjustment. You know, when we wrote Youth, we were 17, 18. You know, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
But then writing Everybody's Going to Heaven, you know, we're 19, 20. At least Matt and I.
Sure, so it was changing
so we're
quite
just,
a bit.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I think that's what's cool about Citizen is you're kind of seeing us change in real time, you know, and grow in real time as young people do.
I love it. I think it's rad, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I think that question leads to an obvious next question. Do you guys have like an older brother that got you into sweet 90s music? Because
we don't.
Obviously, if you haven't heard Citizen, it's very reminiscent of grunge, but updated obviously, but it just seems like you guys have a taste in music that is way beyond your years. So is that something that, like, do you listen to a lot of grunge or 90s music? Or?
You know, honestly, I really don't. When we went to go write Everybody's Going to Heaven, we were listening to a lot of like touch and go bands, you know, so I was getting into the Jesus Lizard, which, you know, the internet will tell you that I was listening to the Jesus Lizard. But, you know, listening to like Laughing Hyenas and things like that. And that was just something that was totally not on our radar the first time around. So kind of getting into that in that era was pretty formative, I think, of what the record would become.
You can definitely hear it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm so excited. Ken Andrews, who most of you know from Failure, and he's also a sick producer and stuff. He happens to be a friend of mine on Facebook since we did a rig rundown with him. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. However, I see this pop up in my feed that he's working on mixing your new record. And I almost had a cow. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's such a perfect fit for where your band is going. And I think that's rad, man.
We knew right when we first started discourse about the record was, you know, we've got to have Ken mix this. We love his work. We love Failure. And so we hit him up. We were lucky to have a mutual friend.
That knew him.
Yeah, and so she hooked us up with him. And yeah, he was down to do it, and he seemed really excited about it, which is amazing.
So rad.
I wouldn't expect that, you know.
Well, now we will. I mean, you've had this 800 for a while.
I
We'll
have.
just get through it since the house noise is coming on.
Yeah.
Have you modified it or changed it or had it?
I haven't modified it. Yeah, I bought it from a friend when I was, I think, like a sophomore or junior in high school. And I've never really had problems with it. You know, I've swapped tubes out, of course, but...
Are you recording with this as well?
That's it, and I'm recording with it too,
That's killer.
Will actually suggested that I never ever get rid of that amp.
Don't.
So
I've made that mistake before. I'm sure most of you have. Don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Cool. And these Janus cabs are tight, man.
They're amazing.
They look
good.
Is this a 412? Just a big body?
Is.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's 412 with staggered Eminence Legends. Bobby at Janus, who plays in Cloakroom,
Sure.
You know, we just trusted him to do these.
He knows what he's doing.
They're
for sure,
beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, you really can't go wrong. We were borrowing them on a tour, and right when the tour ended, we immediately hit them up.
We need to have these cabs.
Yeah, we gotta have them.
That rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So onto pedals. I've seen your board before. It doesn't look terribly different.
No, it's pretty similar.
It's pretty similar.
There's a few changes. Probably
the POG is new.
Yeah, probably the biggest difference is the addition of the POG.
Is that something you're using on newer songs?
I am using it on newer songs, and there's actually songs that I'm using it almost the entire song.
Really?
Yeah, which is
with both octaves, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
no kidding.
Yeah. And I really think it
fills a sonic space.
Transforms what I'm doing. You know, I think if you heard the song without it, it's a completely different
totally
song.
Weird,
you know
right?
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been loving that, and it's just fun to play with, and that's really what I'm looking for in pedals. You know, is just, you know, what can I toy around with, and what can I have fun with, and that's pretty much, you know, what my board is.
I love the Freeze. That's like one of the most fun pedals to play with in the world. Yeah,
absolutely.
Holy Grail, obviously, that's kind of a.
Of course.
It's a very common.
I have to swap them out kind of a lot, but I just love them so much that, you know, once they break, I'm like, I'm just gonna get a new one. I'm not gonna upgrade.
And so DD3, is that something you grew up playing, or like why not a DD6 or 7 or you know?
I actually had a friend getting rid of it, and he gave it to me. And I didn't really want it for traditional delay usage. I just wanted it for noise. So I have the
between songs
E level up. Yeah, I've got the feedback up and the delay time all the way down.
I see that. That's cool.
And it just, you know, makes crazy noise.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I can tune while it's going. There's no silence, you know, and I love it.
Kick it on and let it roll. Not like the freeze pedal with the momentary switch where you have to hold it on.
Right. Yeah.
And then I noticed your chorus pedal is kind of set a little strange too.
Yeah.
Is that on a lot?
Not so much with the newer stuff. Yeah,
Gotcha.
I kind of made a conscious effort on the new stuff to use less effects. I just wanted to be more direct in my playing. Yeah, more rock. And so as of late, I'm using less of it, but in the older stuff, I'm using a lot of chorus.
Very, very cool. So that's still on the board for the older songs.
Still on the board.
Youth and stuff.
Yep.
Big Muff is something I haven't seen on your board before.
Yeah, I was, you know, I was interested in getting like a soft tech Big Muff, you know, a green Big Muff. But a lot of people just said, you know, it's not worth taking on tour. It's not worth
because it's old
breaking.
and maybe breaking, and it's worth a lot of money. Yeah.
And they also said that the Nanos are pretty much exactly the same as the big ones.
Same circuit.
So I got one of those just to save space. You know. I don't like loading, so
it's
I don't
a tight
need
little
anything
board,
to
man.
be heavier.
Kind of has a little bit of everything on it, and it's not too big. I dig that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, man, it was a pleasure to talk to you. We're gonna get your brother and Ryland.
Absolutely. Get him in here.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
All right, now we're on the other side of the stage with Ryland Oehlers, and we're going to talk about his gear. And you got some really, really cool, looks like newer Fender stuff going on.
Yeah.
First and foremost, this is the new professional series,
American
right?
Pro.
American Professional series?
Jazzmaster. It's like the seafoam mystic color.
I love that color.
Yeah.
It's all stock?
Yeah, it's actually my first Jazzmaster too, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything's stock.
That's cool that your first Jazzmaster didn't have the jazz circuit.
I literally got it like 3 weeks ago before the tour, so it's my first time like ever gigging with it, so it's pretty cool.
Rules. And those are just the standard jam pickups that come from Fender?
Yeah, totally.
Very cool, very cool. Man, it's got a great look, and the knobs are kind of
kind of like retro-ish.
Super retro looking, yeah.
Totally.
That's great. Cool. So, is there something that like? I know you've played all kinds of different guitars, but why is the Jam your number one right now? Do you love the sound, or more comfortable? Or?
I actually, on the new record, I used a American Professional Jaguar, and I loved how that sounded, but I also used to have a Jaguar, and I kind of hated the sound of it.
Those pickups can kind of like...
Right,
yeah.
which it wasn't the American Professional, and I was kind of scared. I was like, well, maybe I could just get a Jazzmaster, just because I've always wanted one too, so it's like, why not?
They look so sweet.
Right.
Yeah, they really do have a killer aesthetic.
In the studio, Will actually had one, and I would play it sometimes, and it sounded awesome, so I was just kind of like, I'm just going to
Gotta get one. Yeah, totally. So this is number one now, huh?
Right.
Are you on it most of the night?
For the first half of the set.
And then you play stuff from youth, I guess, right?
Yeah, I play either one of these. Right now it's the Duosonic.
Duosonic, which is almost like a throwback Mustang kind of shape or something, right?
It's kind of like small. Yeah, it's definitely like a Mustang body. I think the pickguard and the way the pickups are a little different.
And these are the stock pickups that came in it?
Right, yeah. Which this guitar is funny because it's in drop C, but it's short scale. But
so
I got like really thick strings on it, which I don't know if that's like good for it. But
what gauges are you running on it?
I think it's 56 to 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty manly, beastly string, dude.
Definitely.
And the tension feels normal? Like, is it hard to bend or?
No, it feels normal. It feels like if I'm playing this guitar, sort of.
Rules.
No problems. Hasn't been knocked out of tune or anything. I normally play the Telecaster.
Let me pick this up so everybody can see. Is this like a road worn?
It's road worn by me. Because one day I was like, oh man,
relic the shit out of this thing.
Relic guitars look cool. I'll just go for it. And I kind of went overboard. But I think it turned out pretty cool. Yeah.
But this is all stock as well.
Yeah, it's like a '98 American Telecaster. My dad got me as a gift one day.
And your dad is a touring musician. That's how you got into guitar, right?
He doesn't really tour. He plays like locally in Toledo. He's like kind of like a Toledo legend as a musician. So
what kind of stuff does he play?
He plays everything, like jazz, blues, Americana. He mostly plays like Americana, like folky, and he writes a lot of his own original music that he plays and
that's cool.
Stuff like
so
that,
it's like kind of in your family. Like I read that doesn't he teach?
He does teach guitar, yeah.
Did you learn from him? Is that something that like?
Yeah, he pretty much taught me. He even says this, like he taught me like basic like acoustic chords,
open chords,
and then one Christmas or like birthday, he got me like a guitar tab book. And I kind of just sat there and taught myself like, I think there were like 311 and like Incubus songs. And I would just sit in my room and just like learn power chords and kind of just like listen and like hear what they were doing, you know? And he kind of was like, yeah, he sort of taught himself how to play.
That rules.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which is what he did as a kid. So.
Works.
There's no one there
you're
to
obviously
teach
doing
him.
something right. This rules.
Yeah.
So let's move on to amp real quick.
Yep.
You've had that same twin reverb for quite a while, right?
I've had it for 2 or 3 years now.
It looks pretty clean. Do you keep it in a road case?
I keep it in the case that it's on, and the wheels are right here, but normally when I play live, I throw it up on here just so it's easier for me to hear when I'm standing across from it.
Have you ever had to backline, like get one in Europe or something like that?
Yeah, anytime we go overseas, I request a twin. Sometimes I get a rocker verb.
Sure, those are great.
And I rock through the clean channel on that, which I used to play a orange rocker verb 100 when we first started out as a band. That's like what I had.
I love that amp.
I had it forever and I love it, yeah, and I just decided one day, I was like, well, I want like a really good clean tone.
And then build your...
Obviously, like a twin is like the best you could get, I think, personally.
Pretty clean,
so, clean.
So you're I guess the way you approach tone is to get a clean pedal platform and then affect the tone over here, right?
Exactly.
Let's take a look at what you got going on here. Super Ego, rules.
Mm-hmm.
What's the 360?
It's a looper.
Oh, cool.
It does like 6-minute loops on 11 different channels, so you can like do a different loop on each of those channels. I actually don't use that live. It's like for when I'm at home, just like riffing, and I'll just like save it in there and like riff over it to do like a second guitar part. What I mostly use in the set are the Palisades, obviously, which is the overdrive, and probably the Holy Grail Neo, which is the reverb. But my favorite pedal is probably the CE3, the chorus.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Really?
Which I use, and we released a single recently called Jet.
Yep,
and that's the pedal I used in the song to record my guitar part.
Record.
Like the chorusy part here is that one, which like that setting it's on is kind of like tremolo chorus.
Oh, not so.
Right. It's not so like basic like standard chorus. It's kind of like wobbly sounding. I don't know. I love it.
That rules, man. Then we got a standard Boss flanger.
Oh yeah.
The hoof. That's pretty rad. Are you using that quite a bit?
I only use it for, at least in this set list, I use it for one song at the end of the song Silo. And it's probably like one of my favorite parts of the set, just because I love how it sounds. It sounds like, it's actually maybe the best fuzz I've ever heard. It like sounds perfect, I think, which it's funny because I buy tons of like distortion and overdrive and fuzz pedals, like, and I finally have these two, and like they're the best I've heard, and I like would never swap them out unless one of them broke. I would just get a replacement.
A replacement. Yeah, I actually have some friends that swear by Palisades.
Yeah, they're amazing.
It's a rad pedal. And then I guess the last thing you have is the stereo memory, man, huh?
Yeah, that's also one. I only use it once in the set in the song Silo as well, where it kind of, it's just, the part I play is pretty reverby, and I just throw a little bit of delay on to make it a little longer.
Just to kind of swell it out a little
totally.
bit. And then you guys are both running just using that as a volume, not...
Yeah, which sometimes I'll use the actual guitar volume.
To clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, mostly I just use the pedal.
Well, dang, I think we got it about covered.
Sweet.
Anyway, I'm excited. Have an awesome show.
Thanks for doing it.
And we'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Cool, awesome.
Cool. Okay, up last but not least, we got the other Hamm man, the Hamm bro, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, dude?
Not much. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, thanks for doing this, and we really appreciate it. Let's talk bass. This is your number one.
Yeah, this is my number one. I've had this. It's my Fender Jaguar bass, American Standard. Basically, I've had it since 2014.
I was gonna say it's got a little road love on it.
Yeah, it's got a little couple chips back here. You know what I mean? It adds a little character to it.
For sure.
Tone, you can't compete now because it's all in the chip on the back of the neck. But no, I bought this kind of wanted to just try something new. I was always playing P basses, and the American Standard Jaguar just had like a little more versatility. It's an active or passive bass.
Oh, with a roll pot or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
and,
cool.
Basically, I just wanted to try something out. The active, I've never really messed with too much other than just like playing here and there. I like the passive sound a little more, but
you probably notice it live a lot more, right?
Yes.
Are you playing on the active setting live?
No, passive.
Just passive.
Yeah, passive.
Okay, I figured that.
I prefer that. Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, it's got like bass and treble, boost and cuts and everything like that, which is really cool. But I kind of just like the classic, just turn two knobs and you're good.
And
you know
you're good
what
to
I mean?
go.
Yeah.
Have you modified this at all? Have you changed anything?
This one I have not. I have another P bass I threw on, like a new bridge and everything like that. The Badass.
Oh, Badass
Bridge,
yeah.
which I love it. Actually, I felt like added a bunch of meat to it, to like the tone in general. Yeah,
No kidding.
Just from the stock bridge, I really love.
I've heard
just like
a lot of people swap that as a kind of common.
Yeah, it was a little more sturdy too. Didn't need as much adjusting and everything like that.
That's killer.
But, yeah, this one I haven't really modded in any way. Just kind of, I've loved it, and especially on our newest record coming out, As You Please. We use this bass a whole bunch, which we didn't in other records. So just a really cool touch, has really good mid-tones and everything like that, and that's what I love. I feel like that's what my main
your tone is incredible.
Mids,
I think it sounds really, really good. I didn't know how much of that was like in the production of the record or what, but we saw your sound check and it sounded super dope. So we'll talk about pedals here in a second and amps, but this is your...
Honestly,
this is for a different tuning, I'm guessing?
That one's actually also standard. Right now, I'm just using that as kind of my backup bass here or just currently. But it's...
Dude, pretty new. I can still see the plastic on it. Is this something pretty new?
Honestly, if you can get that out, let me know.
But, good luck, right?
But yeah, this is the American Professional P bass.
Two knobs this one, man.
Yeah, I've had this one just for like a few months now, but I love it. Super.
Is this just a backup?
Yeah, right now I'm just using it as my backup just because like I said, this is my number one. I have separation issues when I let it down.
So comfortable with it. Yeah, totally.
But no, I do love this one. Super meaty tones, and I will be using that one coming up when we start busting out newer songs as they come out.
Well, that's good to know. If you see this one come out, guys, it's going to be some of the newer jams.
Something special.
Very rad. And then if we take a look back here, obviously you guys are rocking the Janus cabs.
Yep.
This rules.
I've got the Janus cabs.
Jesus, it's huge. Has it got like a...
It's 612s and they're staggered, so it like the height on it
it's higher than normal.
Yeah, it's just a little insane. I was telling you guys earlier, originally they wanted me to get an 812, but it'd be taller than I am.
Hard to carry
I'm
around.
5'9", and I don't want to carry anything even close to my height. So yeah, I'm going to stay with the 612, but has a really nice tone to it. And then recently added was the Fender Bassman 800.
This looks very nice.
Yeah, so this is my first time gigging with it. I've loved it. I'm still dialing it in. Like every day I'll find something new to just tweak. But yeah, we're just figuring it out and trying something new. Before that, I just used a SansAmp power amp, kinda, and that super awesome. I had a friend that did it when I was first starting with Citizen, and loved his tone, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
I had a bass player on tour once, and his whole rig shit out.
Yeah.
And he literally ran the SansAmp, and it sounded really, really great.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually had one time I had my cab kind of blow out on me. Literally every like
flopping and farting and stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna DI. Awesome.
And you can hear yourself through the monitor, and
exactly.
it was fine. Rules.
Yeah. And that's cool about this too is it has the DI in the back, so it's just you just get the straight sound. You don't have to worry about.
So are you giving front of house a clean direct signal from this and pedals?
Yeah, I'm giving them everything.
Cool.
So when it comes out, it's literally what I hear out of my cab, basically.
Gotcha. And speaking of pedals, you got a pretty simple setup. We got a Rat.
Yeah, I got the Rat, which is a 92, which in the studio Will had a Rat pedal, and I loved it. And he was talking to me. It has the LM308 chip in it, which only the older models have.
Yeah, it's a sought after version of it.
People prefer it. I think the only thing I've noticed is I feel like the low end is still like is brought out with it compared to like a newer model that I've played where I thought the low end kind of was sucked out of it a little bit.
A lot of effects will kind of do that a little bit, but that's cool.
But that one, I've been super happy. We used it on our record, Everybody's Going to Heaven, just for about every song. And then also for As You Please, it's used, and that's one thing I love the crunch to it.
Yeah, and it's definitely got a pretty gnarly tone for sure.
Yeah, it does.
Man, and then the SansAmp.
And then SansAmp, everyone has to have. If you play bass and you don't have a SansAmp, then I don't know what you're doing, because I think it just really rounds out everything. Allows you to really dial in.
For rock music, it's kind of like a go-to. Yeah.
I guess I can't speak for everyone, but rock music, SansAmp is a must-have.
And so I'm guessing the Decimator is on there because of the Rat and the SansAmp.
I love the drive and presence, but with that, it just comes that buzz. So I try to avoid that. I don't want to be that asshole that's annoying everyone. So the noise suppressor, just to make everyone happy.
Totally. Yeah, I totally get that. Do you feel like it sucks your tone a lot, or?
The sustain.
Sure.
You'll notice like sometimes like I'll try to turn down on here, and you hit a certain level where that thing just wants to stop it. So that's my only beef. I wish I didn't need it, but I feel like
playing loud rock music, you kind of almost
if
need
I want my amp turned up, then I'm gonna need that.
I've noticed with noise suppression stuff like that, when you roll back, it doesn't react the same, because when you roll back the volume, it kind of like really squashes the tone.
As soon as you hit a certain spot, that thing is just sucking
the hell out of it to get some noise. Well, cool, man. That's a pretty simple setup.
Yeah, I like to keep it easy and crunchy, so.
Keeping it crunchy.
Keeping it crunchy.
Here with Citizen. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Stay tuned for more rig rundowns and all kinds of new content coming your way, just about on the daily. See you guys next time.
See you guys.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.